on, my friends? I'm Rick, and this is your seat at the table. And hey, I'm always astonished by people and grateful for the gestures that are made. And not only did I get one package this week, but I got two, which is great. I knew one of them was coming. The other one wasn't sure. I remember one of y'all mentioned it, and the names, of course, on the packages don't match with. They don't have their YouTube monikers on there, nom de gras, or however you want to call it. Pen name is how I prefer it, because sometimes a little bit of privacy is hard to maintain on the internet if we're not careful. So as you can see, I blanked out their addresses and stuff like that just for security purposes. But this one's from Patrick S. Right, and I think it was either Ohio or Oklahoma. Let's see, this one. Yeah, I'm not sure. If I get it wrong, I'm sorry about it. But hey, this is an awesome thing. And I think one of them is supposed to be a DVD, CD, DVD readable thing for your, that's got a bunch of battle technology loaded onto it. And that's an awesome thing because like I said, I had most of the battle technology and Stardate magazine collection, and then they got stored out in my mom and dad's barn, and by an idiot relative of mine who didn't use their head, and they didn't survive the Iowa winters and Iowa springs and summers. So it is what it is. Oh no, what is this? This is a box. This one here is a box. Oh wow, man! Right? That's awesome. The Uridani Light Horse Hunter Lance. An exclusive Barnes and Nobles. Well, I'm still working on trying to paint my first lance from the box I got a while back. These are awesome. I mean, it really is enthusiastic. It makes me. I'm not even sure I have good words for it, man. I know what these things cost, and then the cost of the shipping, man. You're the bomb, dude. You're the bomb. Yes, sir. And yeah, it would be Patrick. Yes, sir, Patrick. That is an awesome thing. I always get a little leery when somebody tells you, let me send you something in the past, because, well, the people, the world's a weird place these days, and not necessarily a good place. So this is probably that DVD or CD thing from Jeff, right? Yes, sir. Grand Poobah, I think, yeah? I'm probably wrong there, too, boy. Well, my short-term memory comes and goes. I've got days, and then I'll go into the other room to get something, and I'll grab something completely unrelated to what originally went in there, and I'll get back to the other room, and I'll go, how the hell did I get this? I didn't want this. I won't want this till later. It is what it is. Alright, packaging. Yeah. Oh, yeah, right. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Lots of packaging. I don't know Jeff, I don't know what you paid to ship the package. It's $6-7. I think they have a media package for, unless they stop, maybe they don't anymore. That's the problem with being in certain age brackets, and you younger bucks, you get up older, you will find this out to be true no matter what you think of it now. But technology has a tendency to grow and evolve, and we can get accustomed to a certain level of the technology, and then when it evolves, we struggle with that conversion, in part because the familiarity of what we already know, and also in part because of the amount of crap that we spent money on for that. So I'm thinking my old VHS collection, which was quite extensive and took up a lot of space, and over the years, and a lot of it I had dubbed myself, and then we switched to the DVDs, and of course at the time of the switch, you couldn't take a VHS and dub it over to a DVD, not without some really complicated equipment or some pretty savvy know-how. And a few years later, after that, they come up with the conversion device and stuff, and you could buy one with a VHS player and a DVD player in it. But then we're still in that cycle, and then at some point we went from CDs, and I have a pile of read-writables sitting in a case out here that's never been used, uh, to the Ethernet and internet and our the quote cloud and USBs, and I get it. The smaller the devices, they've got much more storage capacity. They're not quite as fragile as the DVDs could be, the CDs could be, but anyway, so we have lots of. The downside is that there's lots of stuff. So, for example, this item here. So this is, BattleTech magazine collection, over 40 magazines. All right. So I'm just saying that if somebody didn't take this and transfer this over to electronic format, just think about it being lost. And stuff on even older formats. That's why some of the books and stuff that I review from my collection that I bought back in the 80s and 90s are considerably rare by today's standards and stuff. This is great. I mean, it's like every now and then I hear people in the BattleTech community go on about the Shrapnel magazine. Did you read this? Did you see Shrapnel? Blah. And I've got a few that have been donated to me, PDFs, and I've acquired a couple others, and there are more, of course, that's out there that I haven't seen yet. And I just recently printed out 2 of them, and so I got a stack, probably 11, 12 books sitting out there that have yet to be bound up. And I will get them bound, but I've also still got about 6 or 7 books that are bound that I haven't gotten around to reading yet. And what you can't see without me tear up the camera is the whole stack of BattleTech and other book material sitting over here that I have gone through and are now piling up because I spent a lot of hours sitting in the truck waiting the truck to do its job. So you hear from me a lot. So if I go to a job and it's a big one, I open up a manhole, I throw a hose in it, and then the truck's going to pull 2,500 gallons of whatever's in there, or until it's empty, into the truck. And depending how deep it is and how thick the material is, can tell you how long it'll take. So I have a job I did the other night, Sunday night, Monday, and it's at a Pancheros on the west side of Des Moines. 10,000 gallons. And it takes almost 2.5 hours a round trip. The first trip goes fast. The second trip can take 3 to 4 hours. It can just literally take 2 to 3 hours for that truck to pump itself full of the bottom of that stuff because it's so deep and it's so nasty. And then you rush back and you unload the truck and you come back. And then the third load will go pretty quick because now you're at the other end of this big, huge double tank and pump the top half off. And then you rush it down and dump it. So you come back and it's going on at 4 o'clock in the morning and you throw that hose in there. And come along about 7, the sun's up, morning crews are coming to work, they're staring at you funny. Because some of them remember you being there when they went home the night before. I mean, that's just how that job plays out. So you spend those 2-3 hours. I do a lot of reading, a lot of writing. Try this because I've never been able to just find a way to nap in that situation. Hey man, this stuff's fantastic, awesome. Really, really appreciate it, and it helps a good cause. Me. I just want to sound as grateful as I can be. Anyway, guys, until next time, I guess. Awesome, thank you. When I get a chance, I got like I said, I kept my old laptop as an emergency backup because I know laptops are fragile, and it has a CD reader, DVD burner in it. Which is why I said when I bought the one I got now, I'm using this one in front of me, it doesn't come with that, and none of them on the shelves at the Walmart that I bought this one from had any in them. You had to buy it back to buying an external drive that you plug into your computer, which, so we're coming up to a point that I don't know how much smaller they. I mean, I know they can keep making them smaller, but the USB port, catch thing is pretty narrowed down. I mean, I don't know how much better devices other than capacity wise and durability wise, maybe. You know, there'll always be a demand for the ability to bring a physical mobile device of some sort, as opposed to having everything 100% established on the or in the quote cloud, right? I mean, I get flags on my computer constantly because I've used up all my space for this, that, and the other thing. No, I know what they want. They want me to pay them money I can't really afford to pay them. We are, yeah, yeah. It was. I only had 40-hour check yesterday, and time I got done with our utility bill, that was $140, which is a lot for us. And we're on budget billing, and that's a huge chunk. And then another $160 in money orders to pay some medical bill on my wife's medical bills, and both her prescription insurance and my quote want to be $7,500 deductible health care insurance. That's $90 a month. And then that left us about $270 or $280, and we drove out to Mitchellville. I'll get gas in the van next week, but we drove out to Mitchellville, and with the $80 at Dollar General and another $160 at the grocery store, and we kind of really didn't buy a lot of stuff. $160 does not go very far anymore. I mean, it really doesn't. I got what I consider the crucial basics, the stuff that we use up every week and you need to replenish, and then excess stuff. Whenever we have a feast month and I've got bigger checks and I've little extra, I tend to stock up crap, and it frustrates my wife sometimes because the freezer will be loaded, and then I'll say, but the week will come, and here we're on one of them weeks where we're glad we got excess products stuck in the fridge and in the freezer and in the cabinet. So we just got the basics. Is the nature of the business, right? I mean, this July, which has nothing to do with it. It's just the rotation of all the jobs that played through, and we start another rotation, and some jobs are quarterly, every 3 months. I got even smaller category there every 6 months. So every 6 months there'll be a month that'll have another 15 or 20 hours or more in that month, because of these jobs that we only do once every 2 months, or twice a year. And then there's a few that we do once a year, which then again can fall into those same months, and then add another 15, 20 hours, and then it just works up that way. And then I've got jobs that I go literally every week, and then every 2 weeks, and those are what keep my basic flow of hours going. And then there's monthly places we service every month, and that just it staggers. It's like within a month there'll be a good month, a couple of good weeks, and a couple kind of anything, as long as I can break that 40, I get 40, 41 hours, we can get through. There's just nothing left. There's just no spare right now, no extra. And the wife's on disability, but the disability is Medicare, and it doesn't cover everything. And those so-called advantage programs are bullshit, my friends. Those are bullshit. You read the fine print. It's not. Anyway, Medicare is not awesome, but it's very good compared to nothing. And so in her case, her knee surgery, which she had back in May, $73,000. What the itemized bill that came was over $73,000, of which we are paying about $2,000. So Medicare covered most of that, and they did everything she needed to have done, and they didn't say boo. Now you get a quote advantage program that's actually privatized health care, not Medicare. They can say, no, we don't think she needs to have that, or no, we're not paying for that. And then you have little recourse. You do. You can file, and ask for reviews and other things. But by the time you go through all that BS, that time of needing something done is come and gone. They don't care. What do they care? They got your money. That's what they care. They got your hard-earned, tax-paid money. That so-called entitlement that we have paid into our entire effing lives. So yeah, I'm entitled to my money. or what that money was for. And that money for, in this case, my wife paid, for 20 plus years into Medicare, and now she needs it. But anyway, so that's like another $150 a month right now. I'm trying to pay on these bills. Some of the bigger ones I can't pay them at once, and they tried talking to their finance people, and they got their heads in their ass. And you dictate to them. You have to dictate to them. You say, look, this is what I'm paying you every month. You go to, no, you're not telling me what I'm paying you. I'm telling you what I can afford to pay you and guarantee it. I don't want to tell you I can do this every month and then not and fall short. I would tell you that I know I can do this lesser amount, and if I can do more, I will. But the guarantee is, if I send you $30 a month for the next 2 fucking years, then that's what I'll do. But you'll get your money. And if you want to have if they want to turn it over to at some point to a collection agency, you know what you do? You tell the collection agency to go fuck themselves. Because the collection agency just paid a few pennies on the pound for your debt to the hospital, and so the hospital can just write it off. But if you send a check to the hospital, they're going to take your money and they're going to put it to that so-called wrote-off bill that you owe. Meanwhile, the collecting agency, their whole goal is to get something out of you, whether it's even 10% of what you owe, because you're going to send the money to them. And then that's the way this is going to work. Now, maybe some of that will get back to the hospital, but at the end of the day, my father said, just pay the debt directly to who you owe. They're not going to refuse your money. And if you got to pay $10 a month for the rest of your life, then so be it. But you make that effort every time. So that's what I do now, and it's each of those add up. So we're back to that. Well, I could have sent $90, but $90 to the $900 that we owe them was just a small drop in the bucket. Well, that same $90, if I split it in three, will pay $30 to 3 different bills. And those are bills that are not repetitive. I'm not talking doing this to my credit card or doing this to my utility bills, because you don't want that to carry over. We're talking a fixed bill. So I went and got something and now I owe them this. Well, I'm in a bad spot. So I tell them, I will guarantee you a minimum of 10, 15% of what you're supposed to. And then you go above that as often as you can, and you keep track of it. And it takes a little while. It's a pain in the ass. Not disagreeing with it, but we're still floating out there, and the hours are bumping in there. I mean, it's like I got to work all day tomorrow at another one of these big doozy jobs. This one though I can do during the day. It's in the drive-through of a bank. So the only day you can actually get to it is on a Sunday, and the place next to it, the Mediterranean place, they close up at noon on Sunday. So, booyah, I just bang out there about 10 a.m. after breakfast and get started and be finishing up about 8 p.m. Because it's another one of these big and deep pits. But we do that one every 2 months, and the one I did last weekend was every month. And if you look at it from the perspective of 12 hours, that is at least a quarter of my week's check right there. And then I would have had Monday off, because I kind of try to do that when I do these big ones. But I got another customer that they got to get their trap replaced, and they're going to do it on Monday. So I said, yeah, I'll go down Monday morning and we'll pump these bastards out, and they can do what they need to do. Because we were supposed to do this last week, but the people that are doing the work had a conflict of interest or whatever, so it is what it is. Anyway, I've rambled on too long as it is. I'm Rick, you're not. Hey, and I appreciate you guys. This stuff, I mean, I'm just flabbergasted, honestly. I get a lot of mileage out of stuff like this, without a doubt. This is awesome. I mean, I've got a company size unit now of Maxidom. Awesome. Thank you very much. Till next time, you guys.